From the arena to the front office, this is Scoreboard. I'm Chris Titley, and each episode brings you stories from the game of sport, where mindset, money, and meaning shape what comes next. Athletes, coaches, owners, and business leaders unpack the moments that matter, because the scoreboard isn't just about winning, it's about life beyond the game. Now let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's Chris Titley here, and on today's episode of Scoreboard, the podcast, I'm joined by Duop Reath. Duop, thank you so much for being part of this series.
It's good to be here.
Duop, we're sitting here. Thanks, mate. Yeah, we're on Thursday, the 5th of June, 2025, and you're based in Western Australia at the moment, mate. How's your day been?
It's been great. Over here in the greatest city in Australia. So yeah, enjoying my time here with the family.
Okay, all right. Have you been to Brisbane?
Yeah, I have. I lived there for actually about 2 years.
Yeah, no, I debate that. No, it's all very good. All the cities are very good in Australia, mate. But yeah, Perth is lovely, mate.
Perth is a little bit better.
Yeah, it is a little bit better, mate. Yeah, so we're in the off season of the NBA. You're coming back to Perth, but before we get to basketball and yourself and what you're up to, I'm curious to know your journey to Australia, how that began.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a long story, but I try to just keep it short. But so it began in South Sudan. That's where I was born, and then I moved to a refugee camp when I was about 7. And then I spent about a year and a bit there. Then I moved to Australia after that. The refugee camp is called Kakuma refugee camp. And then so when I was a little younger, that's when I kind of moved over here to Australia.
Yeah, and those memories of looking back there, the connection of where you are now to where you came from. How do you feel?
It's a huge difference. I think the best way I can really describe it is when you that young and that at that age you don't really understand the situation and what's really going on around you. So I think that my parents would definitely understand a little bit more what was really going on, because you can think about it at that age, just playing with your friends and just the little things. You don't really understand how life really works and the environment that you're in. That's all that you know. So but for me, it's a huge difference. I don't really can compare that compared to Australia. It's a big difference.
Yeah, and your early impressions of Australia, either before you came but also when you arrived.
Oh, it's a lot. It was big. It's a huge culture shock. Obviously everybody spoke English here, and that's not what I learned growing up, and I didn't know not a single word in English, maybe besides hello. So trying to learn the language was probably one of the biggest challenges, but overall, I had some cousins over here as well, and the culture is very, there's a lot of people from different backgrounds, so it helps. There's places where you can get help with, to adapting to the Australian lifestyle and culture here.
And how do you describe the Australian lifestyle and culture now?
Oh, it's great. I think it's great. I've played all over the world. I feel like my career took me to all kind of places, and I'll definitely say that Australia is probably the best place to live. Just to have just that well-balanced life.
And when you came over, when it came to sport, what was your sport? What did you get into? And Australian rules is very unique in Australia. How do you go about understanding that?
Yeah, so Australian rules, you grow up seeing that, at primary school. Obviously, we all played it, and all your friends will play. It's a game where you're just kicking the footy with. It starts off like that, and then before you know it, you're out there playing with everybody else. But so definitely just growing up, just seeing it on TV. Everybody, all your friends that play at school. So so it was easy to pick up doing it like that. But mainly, what I grew up playing was soccer. That's something that I probably saw maybe a future in one day, but obviously my height came into account.
Yeah, but I mean, soccer players can be tall as well. I mean, soccer, I suppose, is and sport at that age is a sense of community, a sense of belonging. Did you pick up the sport when you came to Australia? Because you probably didn't have a network apart from the cousins that you mentioned. Was sport kind of integral in terms of you being connected to people?
Definitely, he played a huge role. Just me adapting to the Australian culture. And just being immersed in different kind of backgrounds as well. So that kind of helped. And definitely sports would always bring people together. That's something that I learned throughout my whole life.
And mate, when did you pick up the basketball for the first time?
In high school. So in high school, around year 8, 9, that's when I really kind of just picked up basketball and started playing a little bit at lunchtimes and stuff like that with my friends. And then it just kind of picked off from there.
And when did you realise that you were actually okay with it?
Oh, I think probably around year 10, 11. That's when I kind of
15, 16.
that I'm not too bad. 15, 16. That's when I started to realize I'm not too bad. But then also I had an advantage in my height. It kind of gave me a little boost of confidence.
Yeah, with the height, how did you find it? Do you think, oh, this is actually quite good because I am taller than everyone else, and it's a little bit easier? Is that the feeling?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of just, I think sports, a lot of it has to do with confidence. And just, having that height kind of just gave me that boost of confidence to, oh, maybe there's a chance and something I can pursue. And, then from then I just kind of just kept working on the things that I was not good at. And, it's got me to where I am today.
Are you a confident person now? Have you been a confident person in the past?
Yeah. I feel like I've always been pretty confident, and but like a lot of it, I feel like goes in with my faith, what I believe in. So I feel like that's always been like a backbone for me.
And then when did you think that potentially basketball could be an option as a career?
When I went to college, so when I got a scholarship to college, when I started playing at a junior college at Lee College, in Baytown, Texas. So playing there for those 2 years kind of made me realize that maybe I have a chance, that I could potentially be professional. But I knew there was a lot of work that had to go into it. And as I signed to LSU and to be able to play at that level now, that meant that I would have to prove it. If I can really play well at that level, that would be a good test for me to show that if I'm able to play professionally one day.
I've got a couple of questions on that. One is, how important was going to university and studying as well? And the second question along the lines of, like, what's driving you? What drove you or driving you to be the best and to be the person that you are now?
Yeah, I feel like education is something that my parents, my community really values. Especially like when you're an immigrant, that's something that that's the only thing that's important. Like your parents are not going to really worry too much about if you want to be a basketball player, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be anything, in those kind of creative fields. All they believe about is just have an education, finish your school, and you can do all the things you want to do on the side, but the primary motivation is for you to finish school. So for me, I always valued education growing up. I just knew the significance that it would have in my life and my parents' life as well, how much they value it. And so I knew that going to America, I can pursue my basketball career and also my education, and which was a no-brainer for me to be able to go. What was the second question?
The second question about what was driving you to be, to go, actually, I can have a chance here. Was it fame? Was it fortune? Or was it like, okay, I just love basketball. Just want to keep getting better and better?
Honestly, that was really it. Because I knew I wasn't that good, and there's also a lot of things that I had to work on. That kind of just drove me to just kept trying to get better, and that kind of I feel like that's what really helped with my career as well to get me where I am today. It's kind of just finding the things that I know I'm not good at and just accepting criticism and knowing that, there's no perfect basketball player, but there's a lot of things that you have to work on, and just getting better at things that I was not good at. I feel like that's what got me to where I am today, without a doubt.
I did an interview with Christine Finnegan, who's the CEO of the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers, recently, and she said something which really resonated with me, was that feedback is a gift. I'm wondering whether you've heard that before and whether that resonates with you.
Definitely. It definitely is a gift. And just accepting criticism. I think it's a skill to be able to comprehend what somebody is trying to criticize you and how you take it and how you interpret it. I think is an important skill, especially in the sport world.
Are you a pretty big critic of yourself? Do you sort of beat yourself up a little bit when things don't go your way?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think anybody can critique me more than I critique myself and how hard I go on myself. I also understand that it's a game at the end of the day, and I need to sometimes have a little grace on myself, So just interpreting that and comprehending that in my head, that's something that I've always been working on, but it's not easy, you know?
Yeah, I'd imagine it would be. And also the coaches along the way, everyone's maybe got something different that they can add or something different that you go, oh, I don't really like that. For instance, how have you dealt with all the different voices that come and say, hey, mate, you got to improve, you got to do this, you got to do that. And you're like, oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, it's definitely important to listen them out, hear them out and listen to what they're saying. But at the end of the day, uh, I feel like as a basketball player, I think you have a pretty good understanding of what you got to work on and what you're not good at. Especially when you're a professional player, I think you it's not as hard for you to accept criticism, you know. Especially when, and then you also can like differentiate what's not good criticism as well. I think when you get to that high level, you kind of understand it a little bit more. But when you're younger, it's a little bit more challenging when you're younger because you just think that you have to listen to what everybody's saying, and some coaches are very negative as well. You know, they can tell you things that you shouldn't be saying to kids, you know, because yeah, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And it, you know, like there's a lot of more avenues now for criticism than when I was growing up in regards to social media and the opportunity, you know, a lot more open press. There's blogs, there's social media, there's, you know, newspapers than traditional media, whereas 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was probably just the newspapers, right, to be honest. There's a lot more avenues for people to give their opinions. I'm interested to know when you are learning, what some of the habits that you get into that you feel are you know, pretty good habits consistently, whether it's sleep or whether it's eating, etc. And for the listeners out there, maybe some bad habits that you think, oh, actually, I haven't been able to crack that one yet.
Some habits that help me in my
Yep.
like basketball, like yeah,
and
I
life.
feel like in life, yeah, I feel like one of the biggest ones is journaling. To be honest with you, writing things that I got to work on, and also just having like just like a plan, you know, of what you like admire to be and what your goals are. Like it sounds very simple, but like I feel like that really helped me throughout my career. Just be able to write down things that I definitely have to work on, and yeah, just little things like that. Journaling on a regular, and also like just being close with your family and friends as well, because if you have that kind of relationship with them, I feel like it's a little bit more. It can really help you just with the decision making of things. You know, the pathways you want to take, where you want to play. Like when you have a really good relationship with them, they can help direct you in a way. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to goals, though, how often do you reset them? How far do you look out? And I suppose do you, when you don't reach them, how do you feel?
Yeah, with goals, I feel like you have your long-term goals. Obviously, one of my goals was to play at the highest level, and then once you establish those long-term goals, now I feel like you got to work on the little ones, on the day-to-day things. You know, just executing your week, making sure that you get the full potential out of your week. You know, so I try to just go on focusing on the little things. You know, that I can really just try to do the best execution out of. You know, because the long-term ones will always just play out if you do the little things on a day to day.
And yeah, absolutely. The long term goal was to play at the highest level, which is in the NBA, and you got your shot at the NBA, your debut at crypto. Do you want to talk about that particular debut, and not just from the fact of like, oh well, I achieved my goal, but more like, okay, now that I'm here, what next?
Oh man, just that debut was it's like a dream come true for me, you know, especially playing at an arena like that, like historical arena where you seen guys like Kobe have the career there. Um, so that was just a blessing to be in that position. That's all I can really describe it as. But yeah, so like once you get to that level, now it's like there's so much, like it starts from ground zero again. There's so much things you got to work on. It's like the reason I've kind of just started playing basketball. You know, there's so many things that I have to get better at, and that kind of just motivated me on like day to day. Like I got to get better, I got to get better. So once I got at that level, it's like, all right, there's so many things that I got to get good at. You know, there's so much things I got to get better at. So yeah. But there's like the gratitude to be in that position and to be able to be there, like meant the world to me. You know, I was just thankful just to be there.
Yeah, I was going to say, and also when you got that first 3-pointer, was just like, this is business, right? Or you're kind of like in the back of your brain going, this is just like just keep going, like this is amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. So like as a competitor, like once that ball goes up, I don't everything's kind of just goes out the window. You just want to compete and and just play basketball, do what you love and what you enjoy. So yeah, once that ball goes up, it's go time.
It's go time. And then from there, like life as an NBA player, give the listeners an insight in terms of the travel, the training, the setup, all the things that go through that people kind of, they sit down on their TV and they watch a game and then they watch you play again the next night and 2 nights later. But behind the scenes, there's a lot going on.
It is a lot going on. We play a lot of games. And probably the number one thing is trying to take care of our bodies, especially during the season. I think that's a priority. You also want to get better as a player throughout the season because there's not that much practice times. There's not that much downtime. So you have to try to find a way to make sure that you're still getting better throughout the season, And that's what's going to like make you a special player, like make you be able to stick in the NBA. You have to continually keep getting better.
Yeah, and what do you do during the season to continually try and get better? You talked about the habits, because there's not much time to breathe in between games.
Correct. Yeah. So number one is just your habits. How hard are you going at your individual workouts? How much film are you watching? How hard are you going on taking care of your body? Just the little things like that. How hard are you taking? How good are you at taking the criticism that the coaches are giving you, that are even your teammates that are giving you? Just those little things. Those little things really add up. And then yeah.
Do you get nervous?
Just gotta keep getting better. Nervous? I feel like you do get a little butterflies before every game, but I think it's a good thing, But like once you start playing, all the nerves usually just go out the window. Yeah, once that ball goes up, everything goes out the window. You just want to go out there and compete.
And how do you go off the court in terms of late nights? You're sleeping, maybe the hotel bed's not big enough, maybe the bus seat's not big enough for you. How do you go with all that?
You just got to be able to adapt, improvise and adapt. Whatever comes at you, you got to be able to think quick. Just adapt to whatever's there, to be honest.
And in regards to what you consider your own biggest strength, what do teams pick you? Why do you get on the court more than others? What is it about Duop Reath you think yourself that makes you want to be picked and play lots of minutes?
I feel like this is what I bring to the team, I feel like I'm a kind of player that's willing just to help the team compete and win in whatever way that the coaches, everybody want me to play, my teammates, however I can just help facilitate for the team, really. I feel like it's one of my strengths. And I feel like I'm a player that's pretty versatile as well. I could do things that a little bit of whatever the coach might need me at that night, just playing with a lot of energy. That's something that I always feel like I got to bring no matter what level that I'm playing at, and just playing as hard as I can at the end of the day. And just being a good character, a good guy for everybody that's around, because at the end of the day, basketball is a team sport. The last guy that doesn't even get any minutes can also impact the starting five, if he has a bad attitude or if he doesn't work hard, because everything's a team. Like everything when it comes to basketball, like everything's just team based,
No, absolutely.
So I feel like I bring that.
Sorry, go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I feel like I really do bring that.
Do you stop and pause every now and then and reflect on where you've come from, how far you've gone, or is this the moment where you're going, well, let's just keep going as fast as we can, and going back to your study, like you mentioned study is being very important. Did you finish your degree, etc.? Is there something in the background as well, maybe that basketball is not going to last forever?
Yeah, I did finish my degree.
What was it?
But so I got a 3 minors called interdisciplinary studies in health science, sports studies, and leadership.
Awesome.
But I feel like with basketball is it teaches you a lot of skills, especially when you get to the higher level. There's a lot of things that you're exposed to, and a lot of things you can learn, and you just got to be open and willing to learn. I think that's something that I'm always ready for. I'm always willing to learn, and I feel like you get exposed to that, and if you're willing to learn, opportunities can always come up for you. If you work hard and you're a good person, and you do those things, opportunities can come out in that.
That's some great advice. Do you ever sort of switch off and not think about basketball? Is there a clear mind somewhere where basketball doesn't enter your brain?
Definitely. When I'm with my family and with some of my friends, I try my best not to think about basketball. So I try to just be in the moment, just enjoy the moment that I'm in, because you don't always get those moments.
And when you come to your goal setting now in the off season, there's a little bit of time. Do you reset your goals, and what are your goals, if you don't mind some of them to be shared?
To be honest, right now it's just try to stay in the NBA as long as I can and just keep competing at the highest level. To be honest, so that's my whole goal at the moment, just focusing on that.
Yep, and then
try to be the best player that I could be.
Yeah, that's definitely a great goal to have, and obviously the little practices and habits, as you mentioned, along the way to get there. Duop, I'm interested to know, I ask the guests sometimes what their favourite all-time sporting moment is. What would be your favourite all-time sporting moment?
My favourite all-time moment would be winning the bronze medal at the Olympics.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a moment I always remember.
Yes, and what a game that was, and it was Andrew Gaze's favourite moment too. It gets replayed quite a bit. Just the emotion, the raw emotion from everyone involved in basketball in Australia to see that medal, and we've got another 3 years coming up for the Olympics, and we've got Brisbane 2032. You reckon you're going to make it to Brisbane 2032, either as a spectator or a part of the team somewhere?
God willing, we'll see what's in store for that. I have no idea.
And then also I ask our guests around their scoreboard moment, which is a moment in your life which is very, very clear. And it sometimes can feel like yesterday, but it's a moment where from that moment it's so picture clear, but you're like, that something changed from after that moment. What's your scoreboard moment, Duop?
Probably signing my deal in the NBA, signing that 2-way deal, getting my first contract. So that was definitely a big moment in my life, just knowing that all the hard work that I put in, and that at the end of the day, you do get rewarded for hard work. Just to continue to keep working hard. I kind of just validated a lot of the hard work that I put in.
No, that's brilliant. And I've got one final question around advice for kids. We're living in a different world when you were growing up, and I was growing up. And in regards to people that want to play at the highest level and they want to play sport, you obviously picked up a ball a little bit later than some people pick it up now. My question is around advice to young kids now who are playing sport that want to look up to you and make you an idol and say, I want to play in the NBA too.
I just say just keep believing, no matter the circumstance that you're in or what people say. Just keep believing and just have that tunnel vision, I feel like. And
what are some of the characteristics you reckon that you've got? Are you're resilient? There's empathy. You're determined. You're a learner. What other ones that come to mind?
You said you said like the main ones, in all honesty. But I feel like another one is just I think my faith plays a lot into my character.
Yep.
So I think that's just a big foundation for me.
What about competitive? Are you a competitive person?
Oh yeah, that's definitely in my DNA.
Yeah.
Very competitive. Right.
Off the court as well?
Off the court, very competitive as well.
And there's some people kind of, when you're playing a card game, you just want to be the winner. You don't care whether the outcome. You just like, no, we're going to keep going till we win, till I win.
Definitely. I don't like losing that much.
Duop Reath, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard, the podcast today. I wish you well in the off season. I really do appreciate your time. Congratulations on what you've achieved thus far in your basketball career. I look forward to following your progress. Look forward to catching up and meeting in person one day, and looking forward to following you next year in the NBA season.
Definitely. Thank you for having me. It was great.